Welcome back. We're going to read the allegations against Russel Brand and the timeline of events. We're going to provide some commentary there. And then we'll follow up by watching several videos and reacting to them from ThatUmbrellaGuy. And he claims to have found something that shows that the allegations are false or the text messages were false. Here's the thing. The Channel 4 documentary is not available to people outside of the UK, right? So, I don't have access to it, so it's fine. I can't find any, the transcript is not really there. There are some channels that have reacted to those videos. It's going to come out in the US as well, I think. When those allegations drop, and for those to be part of a video that the world cannot see while he has 6 million subscribers from around the entire world, it sounds, I understand, but it sounds like the documentary should have just been uploaded to YouTube so everyone could see the evidence at the same time. So that is kind of disappointing, but I understand that this is just sometimes how it works. Let's start with the first event. So 2006, a woman claims Brand sexually assaulted her during her 3-month relationship in 2006 when she was 16 and still at school. And Brand, then aged 30, was a BBC radio presenter and host of Big Brother's Big Mouth. She told the Sunday Times they had met when Brand approached her in Leicester Square after she had been shopping, and then proceeded to go through her shopping bags and critique her purchases. She said he took out a dress and said, "You're going to wear this on our date this week." So here's the thing. This is very specific, right? Could this have been a lie? They have been in a relationship for 3 months, but approaching her, obviously he's super confident, so he can approach any woman he wants. That's how he was thinking back then, especially. And approaching her and then going through her shopping bag, which is really what the fuck? And then critiquing her purchases. That sounds like something he would do. And then taking out a dress and saying, "You're going to wear this on our date this week." That is very specific. We don't know, but that is what a lot of people say after watching the videos with the allegations, everything. They said they sound very credible. And we'll talk about the demonetization of his channel as well. She claims she told her mother, this I don't get fully. Maybe you guys get it. She claims she told her mother, who advised her to text Brand and tell him her age, but that he was undeterred and on the date asked her to confirm she was 16. But did the mother know that she was going on a date with him? She told her to send a text and tell him that she was 16. But if he's undeterred, isn't that something you then tell your mom again? He's okay with me being 16 and then having a relationship? What? So I have a lot of questions there. And obviously, they shouldn't have had any communication, really. The woman said that over the following weeks, Brand referred to her as the child. Have you seen the child? Where's the child? That is, again, very specific and also very messed up. And she alleged that he was controlling and sexually and emotionally abusive. She said he sent a card to her secondary school to take her out of lessons and asked her to save his name as Carly in her phone to deceive her parents. He also allegedly gave her scripts on how to lie to her parents and advised her to hide the relationship from her friends, describing the experience as isolating. The woman and the family member described Brand's behavior to the Sunday Times as grooming. That is pretty messed up. Save my name under a fake name on your phone. Scripts on how to lie to her parents. How far did this go with the scripts? Again, so many questions, but very specific. Referring to her as the child. Basically emphasizing the fact that she's super young. And is he referring to her as the child? If you're referring to her as the child, have you seen the child? You're talking to other people. And this is maybe the reason why everyone says, like, everyone knew. Like, we all knew. 2007. Jordan Martin alleges Brand sexually assaulted her and was physically and emotionally abusive towards her during a 6-month relationship from February 2007. She claims he assaulted her at the Lowry Hotel in Manchester when he became angry after finding out she had spoken to an ex-boyfriend and ripped her phone case apart to pull out the battery before touching her sexually. She said she was not ready for this intrusion and did not find it pleasant. So these allegations have been known since 2014 because, let me finish reading it. Martin made the allegations in a book published in 2014. She inclined to be interviewed by the investigative reporters, but she told the Sunday Times she stood by her account. Brand denies all of the allegations made by the Sunday Times, but he has never challenged the content of the book. I mean, if you're denying the allegations, all right, so he denied the allegations by the Sunday Times, which is the new allegations, but he never challenged the content of the book. So now he's like denying it. Yeah, that's messed up. The allegations were published in a book. So he, assuming those are right, or like true, because why would she publish them in a book? But not, like, was she selling the book primarily around this entire thing? Probably not. Like, I've not dived into it. But, like, what was the incentive to mention it there? She did mention it there. And if that is true, and he didn't deny it back then, when the book was published, you could also say he denies it, but he's not speaking out because why would he, like, why would I even respond to it? Maybe I'm validating it by responding to it. But like, if you've had a 6-month relationship with someone, like, or is he denying that as well? Like, probably not. And then what incentive does she have to put this in her book? So there is some smoke there. And people say where there is smoke, there is fire. And the first allegations we read about sound, I mean, it's just a couple of paragraphs, but they're very specific. All right, let's move on. A woman alleges that Brand raped her against the wall at his Los Angeles home in July 2012. So we're now several years later, 2007 to 2012. If someone is doing it still in 2012 and also in 2007, there was probably not really a break, which sounds really bad. Which is probably why they have asked, like, hey, please come forward if anything has happened. She alleges that Brand raped her against the wall in his Los Angeles home in July 2012 after she refused to join him in sexual activity with a friend of Brand. She alleges that she told Brand to get off her and that she wanted to leave, but he carried on and briefly blocked the door to prevent her from leaving afterwards. She told the Sunday Times she was treated at a rape treatment center that same day and had therapy treatment there for 5 months. Records seen by the Sunday Times show she contemplated criminal or civil proceedings but ultimately decided against it. After the incident, Brand sent her text messages apologizing for what happened and describing his behavior as crazy and selfish. It happened the same month that Brand's divorce from the singer Katy Perry was finalized. I think we've all seen the footage of Katy Perry where he broke up and she was on tour and she's crying, and yeah, that was pretty messed up, but like, yeah, that's not illegal and that was shitty behavior and whatever, but like, yeah, I do think, I understand that it kind of helps with the narrative, but like, I don't think people should focus on that too much. Being an asshole is not, lots of people are assholes. And if he actually did rape her, that's obviously horrible. And it's 11 years ago. But like, yeah, she's treated at the rape treatment center. And that she didn't she contemplated criminal or civil proceedings, but ultimately decided against it. if she's there for 5 months of therapy, yeah, and people are upset and say, well, if this happens, why don't you immediately report it? And I mean, come on. You also realize that there are consequences for people as well. There are many reasons why people do not report it. And then the question comes, like, why are they reporting it now? Well, if some investigative journalist is getting names from here and there, and they reach out and they, they're kind of facilitating it, right? And I've heard multiple people mention this with like Harvey Weinstein, and that it was journalists that brought it all up, that connected the dots. So it's not that unusual for something to be made public through the media before it's even filed with the police. I do believe that they're filing something now, I think. I don't know. I could be wrong there. But we know that there have been consequences for him already because he's demonetized on YouTube, assuming that is correct. I've seen some news published around it. But yeah, 2013, a woman who told the Sunday Times she had met Brand at an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting before they started working together claims he sexually assaulted her at his home in Los Angeles. So this is the same home probably there. So twice they're mentioning home at Los Angeles. She alleges he tried to kiss her and remove her clothes as he pinned her down, and she shouted at him to stop. I was screaming, "What are you doing? Stop, please, you're my friend," she said. She claims he eventually relented, but he flipped and shouted at her, saying she was fired. She claims that years later, she spoke to someone who had been working on a project with Brandt and was outside the house at the time of the incident. He allegedly apologized for not helping her and said, "I heard you screaming and we were all so scared of him." So someone was outside of the house and said, "We actually could hear it and we're sorry that we didn't do anything. And we were scared of him." Brand allegedly threatened the woman later with legal action if she told anyone about her allegation, and she said she never formally reported him because she feared it would affect her career. So here's the thing with a lot, like we have seen a lot of Me Too stuff coming out, right? When it's in that, especially with Harvey Weinstein, where people are trying to make it and he can make or break your career. Like if he wants to, he can make your career. If you have any potential, he can just make your career. And then realizing that he could also break your career, it gives them a position of power, and abusing that is really messed up. The woman who claims she was sexually, 2020, the woman who claims she was sexually assaulted by Brand during a 3-month relationship when she was 16, contacted his literary agent at the time, who was also the co-founder of the talent agency Tavistock Wood. She said a lawyer representing Brand contacted her, denying the allegations and claiming she was looking for money. A statement given to the PA news agency by Tavistock Wood said, Russel Brand categorically and vehemently denied the allegation made in 2020, but we now believe we were horribly misled by him. TW has terminated all professional ties to Brand. 2023. A joint investigation by the Times, Sunday Times, the night before publication, Brand denied the claims in a video posted online, stating that all of his relationships have been consensual, before accusing the media of a coordinated attack. He said, amidst this litany of astonishing, rather baroque attacks are some very serious allegations that I absolutely refute.
Type of video we make on this channel where we critique, attack and undermine the news in all its corruption, because in this story, I am the news. I've received 2 extremely disturbing letters, or a letter and an email, one from a mainstream media TV company, one from a newspaper, listing a litany of extremely egregious and aggressive attacks, as well as some pretty stupid stuff like my community festival should be stopped, that I shouldn't be able to attack mainstream media narratives on this channel. But amidst this litany of astonishing, rather baroque attacks are some very serious allegations that I absolutely refute. These allegations pertain to the time when I was working in the mainstream, when I was in the newspapers all the time, when I was in the movies, and as I've written about extensively in my books, I was very, very promiscuous. Now, during that time of promiscuity, the relationships I had were absolutely always consensual. I was always transparent about that then, almost too transparent. And I'm being transparent about it now as well. And to see that transparency metastasized into something criminal that I absolutely deny makes me question, is there another agenda at play? Particularly when we've seen coordinated media attacks before, like with Joe Rogan when he dared to take a medicine that the mainstream media didn't approve of, and we saw a spate of headlines from media outlets across the world using the same language. I'm aware that you guys have been saying in the comments for a while, watch out Russell, they're coming for you, you're getting too close to the truth, Russel Brand did not kill himself. I know that a year ago there was a spate of articles, Russel Brand's a conspiracy theorist, Russel Brand's right wing. I'm aware of news media making phone calls, sending letters to people I know for ages and ages. It's been clear to me, or at least it feels to me, like there's a serious and concerted agenda to control these kind of spaces and these kind of voices. And I mean my voice along with your voice. I don't mind them using my books and my stand-up to talk about my promiscuous consensual conduct in the past. What I seriously refute are these very, very serious criminal allegations. Also, it's worth mentioning that there are witnesses whose evidence directly contradicts the narratives that these two mainstream media outlets are trying to construct, apparently in what seems to me to be a coordinated attack. Now, I don't want to get into this any further because of the serious nature of the allegations, but I feel like I'm being attacked, and plainly they are working very closely together. We are obviously going to look into this matter because it's very, very serious. In the meantime, I want you to stay close, stay awake, but more important than any of that, if you can, please stay free.
I mean, it's good that he published a video
Hello there, you awake.
before even the news came out, right? That was smart. He reached a total of 2 million people. Lots of hand gestures in the video. A lot of hand gestures. I'll put it on 2x speed and just watch how he's constantly talking about two forces, two things. Like, he's very deliberate in his hand gestures, which is fine. Some people are really good at talking like this. Yeah, very deliberate. This is really like the media training guy showing you how it's done. Continuously looking in the camera. But yeah, we're outsiders. We don't know. It is a he said, she said. As people have said, I've not watched the videos from channel 4 because I cannot access them. But people have said that it sounds very credible. And reading about a couple of them, the 16-year-old, I think that is the one that is really sticking out. Bombshell proof against Russel Brand is fake. So let's open that one. Here we go. 8 minutes.
It proves that at least one piece of quote-unquote proof against Russel Brand was either faked outright or was manipulated, and that was never disclosed by the Time and the Sunday Times. Now, you'll notice a couple of red line edits.
We're going to quickly read it. Let's quickly read it on our own first. I'm sorry, that was crazy and selfish. I hope you can forgive me. I know that you're a lovely person, X. You scared the shit out of me. You're right, I'm a lovely person, and for you to take advantage of me like that is unexpectable. You have a problem, you need help. It's dangerous that you think you can get your own way all the time. Do you know how scary you are when that glazed look comes over you? When a girl says no, it means no. Do I have to go and get myself tested? Last time you asked, blanked out, or no. When I say that doesn't mean it's optional. You don't have the best reputation. I pride myself on being safe and trying to make the right decisions. Obviously, this was a bad one. I'm so disappointed. I'm very sorry. You don't need to get tested. I will make this up to you somehow with love and kindness. Not my original idea, which was more blanked out. You've been lovely to me and I'm embarrassed by my behavior. Sorry, X. And then, will you ever forgive me, X? This is from the Times and the Sunday Times.
Outright or was manipulated, and that was never disclosed by the Time and the Sunday Times. Now you'll notice a couple of red line edits. Those are mine, but the rest of this was presented as one solid piece of texting. Well, you'll notice here that there's cut and paste jobs. In
Do we see cut and paste jobs?
fact, there's a few of them here. You have dates missing and more. And on top of that, they present
Dates missing. So we have July 1st and then we have August 5.
this in a way that it's not framed. It's not saying what they say it's saying. So you have problems here with the story. You have problems with
All right,
what
I'm
they
going to increase the
present. You
speed
and I,
here.
We're going to talk about all of that today. And this really is crazy times. This is crazy times indeed. All right. So hey there, while you find folks.
Man, he's so slow. Come on.
Day, by the way, I hope you are doing
That's 20% of the video, my
Absolutely.
dude.
So we're going to spend some time examining this. Why? Because
Let's go.
this has been utilized as proof of a developing story. A story that points the finger at Russel Brand that just dropped on Saturday, 9/16/2023, and the media and so many others have already said he's guilty.
Yeah, lots of people also think he's not guilty, right? I mean, we can go and read the comments. Like, let's read the comments. Frightening, innocent until proven guilty. I'm sorry you're going through this. The BBC went down this story describing a once famous celebrity who... Blah, blah, blah. I'm not a fan of Russel Brand particularly, but I was disgusted. Honestly, dude, it's surprising it has taken him this long. Stay strong. So yeah, there are lots of people that think it's true. There are also people that think it's not true. Lots of people also feel like, hey, it's allegations at the moment.
Proof. Now, when you look at this,
I think there's also a distinction between British people and non-British people, because in the UK he has been famous for longer, right? And the period of time where he was like really out of control, basically, that happened when he was like more a UK guy. And everyone now he's not a UK guy. He's like a global guy.
first, we want to look at the context, because the way that this was presented, forgive the red line edits, by the way, those are indeed mine, but the way this is presented, it's
Why did he do the red line
presented
edits?
as proof that somebody had the worst thing happen to them. They were accosted. They had to go to a center and get some help. Yeah, that's not what it says at all. And I'll point out the errors in the thing where this is either faked or manipulated as we go forward.
This better be
So
good.
this says, after I'm going to use the word accosting instead of that other A word that they like.
I don't know, assaulting?
Hal Brand texted, sorry, to Nadia. Again, they use this as a no means no, and they utilize this as him apologizing. Therefore, he's guilty. So you notice, this starts out here. July 1st, 2012, 3:29 a.m. Russel Brand said,
The 9 is sticking out a bit more? No, that's not it.
I'm sorry. That was crazy and selfish. I
That's Brand sending the
hope you
message.
can forgive me. I know that you're a lovely person. X. Now, 7.5 hours later, July 1st, 2012, at 10:59 a.m., you have this come in. You scared the bleep out of me. Now, you're right. I am a lovely person, and for you to take advantage of me like that is unexpectable. That's what it says, unexpected.
I mean, you could use that as a word. I got confused by it as well. I was like, unacceptable, that's what you probably would write. But then it's like, well, I didn't expect it from you. So you could write unexpectable. Is the correct word? Like, I don't care. You scared me. Like, yeah, it's like abbreviations. Is this that young girl? I don't know.
You have a problem. You need help. It's dangerous that you think you can get your way all the time.
Your own way. Kind of, these are to me indications that it's a young person.
Do you know how scary you are when that glazed look comes over you?
That is very specific. And I think we can all imagine what she is trying to explain here. Like something takes over of him, you know? When it concerns sex.
Here's a problem.
Because all the other stories, allegations, are also about like assault and stuff, and not understanding no, not wanting to accept no. When a girl say no, it means no. Do I have to go and get myself tested? Because it was unsafe, probably. So she's like, fuck. Like, can you at least tell me, like, do I need to get myself tested? Did you have sex with other people? Did someone make that up? All right, let's hear him out.
When it pops up. And you're going to have this misrepresented. So I'll talk about misrepresentation first. When a girl says no, it means no. Now remember, this is a conversation from 2012. This isn't from the certain hashtag movement era, but do I have to go and get myself tested? Last time you asked me, I'm going to say protection or no protection. When I say protection, that doesn't mean it's optional.
So she said condom and he said no?
You don't
Like he blanked it out. But what did it actually say?
have the best reputation. I protection. That you ask me, I'm going to say protection or no.
I'm going to say, what do you mean? Is that exactly, like, what is your source? Comic? Nobody adds the source.
Protection.
Okay, fine.
When I say protection, that doesn't mean it's optional. You don't have the best reputation. I pride myself on being safe and trying to make the right decisions. Obviously, this was a bad one. I'm so disappointed. Now, when you look at that, first of all, that is about the use of protection. That is not about no means no.
Oh, he's like saying like, hey, it's about protection, but you blanked stuff out. What did it say? But yeah, if a girl is saying you need to wear a condom, and you're like, I don't know what happened, but like, did he deliberately not use a condom, or she said no? Like, we don't know.
Specific connotation.
But it's messed up when a girl says you use a condom, you use a condom, right? And why did he apologize then?
Especially in this day and age, which is a totally different topic. But the Times, the Sunday Times, Channel 4, they present this as undeniable proof that, well, he did something horrible. This person had to go to a crisis center, get assistance. When
Is this actually that case? Is it that case?
really, this is about getting themselves checked out. Now, when you look at this, too, this is not disclosed at all that there are any edits, but when you look at that, you'll notice there is an edit line here. That is a copy and paste. I mean, it is clearly seen when you...
An edit line that is a copy paste because he sees that one blue line.
blow that up. And you can also see that this is...
There are lots of white dots as well. The quality is pretty bad. Could that be an edit line? Honestly, I think it's just attached to each other. So if I look at it, the line to the left, there's some more shading for the bottom part, and the top half doesn't have that shading. So I think it's like aligning two screenshots. So there's not like, because if you would, otherwise you would see like the top of the phone and the notification, stuff like that, right?
the copy and paste because, well, it looks like everything's been bold-faced, but the reason...
Okay, everything else looks bold, which is what I say, right? They have screenshots, multiple ones, and they're like combining them with each other, and maybe they're saving them incorrectly or whatever, or they were zoomed in. Like, don't forget, the people that have done this could have been stupid with photo editing, right? So maybe they zoomed in more, and then sometimes people zoom in and take screenshots that way, which ruins the resolution. So for the bottom, I don't think those are necessarily bold. I don't think those are bold. I think it's just zoomed in or something. So the compression is higher. There's more detail is lost. If we look really closely, it kind of looks like they are more bold. I have to admit, if I compare specific letters like the O, if I compare the letter N for Nicholas, it's kind of the same thing. Yeah, I don't think it's evidence of this entire thing being manipulated.
reason for that is because it ended up missized. When you missize something, essentially, it takes away clarity, unless you go in and you spend a lot of time with it. Now, from there, you have the next part. This
Which also looks bold.
is a problem, too. And a big one at that. Again, you can see the cut in. That is my fault. Plus, it'll take away noise that's here. But it says, this is Brand. I'm very sorry. You don't need to get tested.
So I didn't have unprotected, like Brand is basically saying, I haven't had unprotected sex with anyone since the last time I tested, and I was like, I didn't have anything, so you're okay. I will make this up to you somehow with love and kindness. Yeah, I mean, it could be a condom thing. And that she was like, you have to use your imagination a bit. And trigger warning. But like, yeah, you can imagine that she said no. And he was like, come on. And she was like, no. And then he just did it anyway. Like, that stuff happens.
I will make this up to you somehow with live and kindness. Not my original idea, which was more sex.
Obviously with love.
You've been lovely to me, and I'm embarrassed by my behavior. Sorry, it notes. Will you ever forgive?
So this was later. She didn't respond.
You have up the graphic by the Times and the Sunday Times. Now, when you look at this, you'll notice first and foremost that it is not aligned correctly.
6.7 thousand likes. Like everyone, 86,000 views. So everyone is buying into this.
This is actually slanting over to the side. Why is that? Well, this is a copy and paste job too. And in fact, it looks like somebody took a little more time when copying and pasting that, because you don't have any noise that's outside of this, but you'll notice there's noise all over every word here. It cuts into it. That noise is not caused by the words. You can see that clearly. Otherwise, it would bleed down. This, like I said, is somebody copying.
Oh, God. My dude. They have multiple screenshots. It's an app. The app does not have a screenshot feature where you can press a button and say, screenshot it for me, but then scroll down automatically to create one big PNG file that is vertically super high because it's an entire thread. How do people share this stuff with like a journalist? They'll make screenshots, like screenshot. They'll tap the screenshot buttons, right? They have like 8 screenshots and someone has to like merge them. And the person that merged them did a sloppy job. And that is why here you don't have any, like, as I said, it's someone that opens it in a photo editor and then they zoom in and create screenshots and shit. Like, yeah, someone messed up, but that it's not evidence that it has been completely faked at all. When you're showing me, the only thing that I've seen is like that one line that he referenced, which to me is like, okay, that is like the top part, matching it up with the bottom part. That could be it, because it's kind of not perfectly aligned, right? So no, like I haven't seen anything, because I need to see evidence within a sentence, something, not horizontally between lines.
And pasting it, and when you blow out, when you actually see this, that is not noticeable. It's only when you start looking at the details. You'll also notice that there is a date stamp that looks like it's missing. I mean,
the date stamp is missing for the blue part. Yeah, they have been copy-pasting multiple screenshots in the photo editing software and they didn't do a great job, which is why the blue part looks messed up, why it's not perfectly aligned, and why you're missing the date. Because that person just, and maybe if someone else responds immediately, does it show the date? Because I don't know what messenger this is, but regardless, if you're going back and forth, it's not constantly giving you a date, it's the same day. Right? So you see July 1st and then a message. Then July 1st, another message. But it's 3:29 and then 10:59. If he would keep messaging, I don't think it includes the timestamp for each message. But even if it does, I don't think it does. But even if it does, if you're when is the last time you saw a phone that was this tall?
typically, you'll see
he's completely disregarding that fact.
Above something, timestamp that comes across right there. You'll also notice too, this is off angle, but the date here is actually on angle, which means this wasn't cut as a block of text. This stuff was cut in singularly. You have this part, again, you can see that it's somewhat off, but it's straighter here. This is perfectly straight. This comes in at an angle, and all the noise there, you can see the noise, it's also showcased as
And then the last one being skewed, it's kind of weird with the phone stuff at the bottom. It should not be angled compared to the phone stuff. The only explanation I have for this is that it was like the last screenshot. It's the only thing that was visible at the top. And that they use that, but like you're copy pasting stuff and then you have a rotate function. If you mess up with your mouse, that could happen to you, that you accidentally rotate it a bit, and then they're like, oh, we still need to add the bottom part because it still needs to like an actual message thread on a phone. I know this one is maybe hard to believe, but like, yeah, all of everything except for like the rotation, which again, I have seen that happen to me as well. Like when you're moving the mouse in certain applications, when you're in that corner and you're like pasting it, instead of fixing your mistake, sometimes people, like, you need to control Z when you make a mistake with rotation because you want it to be horizontal, right? And some people try to manually put it straight again. Did that happen? Like, I cannot rule it out, but this is not clear evidence that it has been faked. They should now, based on this, basically say, hey, own up to it. It is our fault. We took the screenshots here, blah, 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 blah. Like they can point that out and say, yeah, with the editing, we made some mistakes. So he has
the network.
He has multiple videos on like that's all fake. So the first one I think was not really proven to be fake. I think they should just explain, hey, we did some dumbass editing with the photo editing software, our fault, but it is actually authentic. And yeah, and then you can say, well, trust us. She probably still has the threads. So yeah, if it really has to be proven that they're not fake, then they could. Again, grab correct screenshots or whatever. And then you could say, well, they had time to fake it. Like, okay. I don't think it's that big of evidence, to be honest.
Put out those Russel Brand allegations. Oh, they have messed up big.
All right, let's see how they messed up.
Time. See, they admit to lies by omission because they're not only an accuser, they were also the employer of Russel Brand. Now they're saying, hey, we need to do an investigation to determine the full nature of what's going on. So they did investigate a program that they aired, and also they admit there's no record of complaint whatsoever. So they're going to reach out to the producers of the program that this was on. So they didn't follow up with any of the producers on this to find out if anything is true. Again, that's a lie. That's a lie by omission. Now they're trying to cover themselves. We're going to look at what they said there. We're going to discuss that and more. And this is crazy times. I mean,
against Russel Brand revealed in an investigation tonight. Channel 4 says that it is appalled to learn of these deeply troubling allegations, including behaviour alleged to have taken place on programmes made for Channel 4 between 2004 and 2007. We are determined to understand the full nature of what went on. We have carried out extensive document searches and have found no evidence to suggest the alleged incidents were brought to the attention of Channel 4. We will continue to review this in light of any further information we receive, including the accounts of those affected individuals. We will be asking the production company who produced the programmes for Channel 4 to investigate these allegations and report their findings properly and satisfactorily to us.
Now, as Christopher Meltzer, lawyer and legal analyst, points out, this is an epic screw-up on Channel 4's part. Why? Well, when you read what they have to say, like he says, they're admitting that they didn't fully understand what transpired here. They don't understand the Russel Brand at all. Now, he says he's not questioning the veracity of the accusers. That's the same thing with myself. I'm trying to figure out pro or con what happened here. There is a truth there. You're trying to find it. But he's pointing out the conflict of interest and the incomplete investigation. Again, a lie by omission because they didn't even have the truth. They didn't even know what the heck they were talking about. Now, the damage control for Channel 4, it gets much, much worse because what they're admitting here is an incomplete investigation while also telling you, hey, we went through our own internal records. We actually looked for something that would back that up. What did they find there? Well, they found, quote, no evidence to suggest the alleged incidents were brought to the attention of Channel 4. Now, of course, they didn't include that statement anywhere in that. And again, that doesn't say nothing happened, but for them to air it, it makes it sound like they did. They did something complete, they did something thorough, and they found something. Then they say, and this is bad as well, they would be asking the production company who produced the programs for Channel 4 to investigate these allegations and to report their findings properly and satisfactorily to us. So wait a minute, you didn't reach out to them. You didn't ask them any of these questions before going on record and reporting this as fact. Something that happened at your station. You know, you were paying for this stuff. You didn't bother to do that before you went out and basically treated this as fact.
I think sometimes I can imagine that investigative journalists sometimes can publish stuff before, you know, of course they still need to approve, I would assume, but like maybe there has been a debate there and they were like, yeah, but what he's saying is, what the guy who's tweeting is saying is, why would you air this if you haven't asked them to investigate the allegations and report the findings properly and satisfactorily to us? Shouldn't that already be the case with the report itself? Because everyone is seeing it, at least in the UK. A promise after airing the piece about Brand is suspect. How long will this investigation take? Will the results be publicized in the same fashion?
I mean, that's a huge, huge problem. As Christopher Meltzer says here, fully investigating the allegations, that should have been the first step. And I 100% agree with that, by the way. You shouldn't be taking the word for anyone there. You should be looking into it yourself. You should conduct a thorough investigation, making sure that these...
But it's also a story. It's a scoop.
Allegations, first of all, they actually are there. You know, the things that are being reported, we've seen all the craziness.
So before he proceeds, it is also, it kind of shows that they trust their journalists and that they have done the due diligence and that they do have the evidence to back these allegations up. So when they say we're going to investigate the allegations, they are assuming that the allegations are correct. They have seen the allegations and find them credible. And they find it important to air it, right? But the difference here is they were the employer for Russel Brand at the time. And they say they have not found any incidents that have been reported. And that was probably not part of the report either, right? So they don't feel like probably they can really be blamed because nobody reported it to them. If it's about another company and that company wants to investigate the allegations, their response is like a typical response of a company that is dealing with these type of publications. Like, what did you expect them to do? Like, this is what normally happens. So you're saying, hey, they should have just not reported it because obviously you don't know if it's true because the allegations have not been investigated. They assume that their reporters are doing a good job and nothing is pointing directly to them except for the fact that he was working for them, but nothing was reported to them. So they're like, yeah, show us everything and let's see. Like if we made mistakes, we want to know. And most likely they've already heard what all the evidence is. But the response is like just the typical response that a company has when they're part of these type of publications. And they're separating themselves from the publication in the sense of our journalists are free to publish this type of information, even if it's like kind of bad for us. Because is it really bad for them? I think they have, like, a lot of people are not happy with the way this published, like this critique as well. Like, this is kind of a popular critique right now. Like, no, it shouldn't have been published in this way through the media. It should have gone to the police first and this and that. But in principle, it's kind of destroying him and not themselves because he's not even working there. And again, they didn't have any reports.
It comes from the mainstream. Yeah, why wouldn't you look into that? Because you would think.
So based on this, is this guy now saying this is a complete lie? Now it's complete? The investigation is a lie? Why air it?
If that would be something you wanted to
The investigation is a lie?
do. A promise to do so after airing the piece about Russel Brand. That's suspect. And it is indeed. It makes you question why exactly they would do that. You know, Russel Brand said, hey, this is a coordinated hit piece. This happened because, and he notes what he's been doing on his channel. This, I'm not saying this is true, but it definitely gives his arguments credibility there. Why would you do that at all? Now, how long will that investigation take, by the way? That is another good question here. You know, how long are you going to delay this? Are they going to turn it over to lawyers? That's what we've seen in This is very Brand. He is actually not guilty of something. Again, are you going to note the fact that you didn't find any internal record at all to support allegations? Are you going to put that to...
I understand what he's trying to say. He's like, well, if you don't know for a fact that it is actually true, you should not publish it. Well, that's not how media normally works. Right? That's not how media normally works. Don't bite the cable. So again,
Are you just going to sweep all of that under the rug and pretend, hey, you know,
this does not show that the investigation is a lie. What investigation is a lie?
we led with this
They have worked on this for like 4 years.
story. Then we did a follow-up. We did our due diligence. But there was any information about this? How can you tell? Well, the production company, they decided they were going to put out a statement. Their statement says that they're going to launch an urgent internal investigation.
Yeah, there have been some investigative journalists and that they have pointed to, hey, this happened with that guy and he was actually working for us. And they're like, okay, shit, we need to investigate that. What they're doing is exactly what each and every other company would do if they suddenly would be part of this. So that is the second video claiming that everything is a lie. That is
So
not.
there's another...
And now we're going to video number 3. 47,000 views.
huge bomb.
And everyone agrees with everything that he's being saying, I think. When 10% is like upvoting it, the comments are probably all like, yeah, you're right. Yep. Yeah, it's all about the media. All right, let's go.
Shit.
Not that I'm like a big fan of the media.
In the quote-unquote evidence against Russel Brand, as you have here, the
Oh my God, you need, like, this guy is asking for a 4.5 speed.
actual report is taken from a documentary on the issue that does not match up with what we see as far as the text messages are concerned. See, the text message that was sent on that very day to Brand, it only talks about protection. That's it. That's the only thing that she brings up with him, even though she's angry. Now, the documentary takes this a step further, blurring out any indication of context. You notice the conversation it's here, it's blurred down to a couple of lines. They talk about how scary he looks. No means no, making it look like all of this is an admission. Remember, too, they said that they spent 4 years putting this together. 4 years getting it right. Yeah, you and I, we're going to talk about that today. Crazy times, man. Crazy times indeed. All right, so hey there, all you fine folks on this fine day, by the way. I hope you are doing excellently. So yet another bombshell, recorded, by the way, by Channel 4. This was in
Bombshell.
their documentary. It comes as part of this, where the journalists, they say, we've confirmed, the texts that you're seeing here, these texts, they came from Russel Brand.
So someone has, like, the girl has shown her phone. The assumption here is that she didn't just send the messages with a screenshot of the. That could be the case. I'm not ruling it out. But if you're saying you confirmed that the texts were sent from his phone, then you need to get a hold of her phone, and you can still fake it by creating a fake app. But like, if they are really confirming it, they should be holding the phone. Right? And again, even then you could fake it, but like, yeah, that is a lot of effort to fake a social media app. Like, yeah, that is just too much effort. So we don't know, but I do feel like we need to be very careful with this stuff. If you're confirming that it's coming from a specific phone message, you need to open that app, you need to hold the phone, you need to see that app start up. Like, ideally, you need to go that far. But also keep in mind, if a lawsuit ever comes up and it's like actually fake, it has been faked, and he sues them, like, yeah, then you have to show in court probably your phone. And if it's fake, then it will come out. So like, faking stuff it's going to come back, right? If he did not send those messages, how easy would it be for him to just say, you know what, lawsuit, this is bullshit. I never sent those messages. Here's my phone. And you completely disprove it, and it's done.
It's number, and along with that doctored text message, again, you saw how they put it up there. That
like, I don't know if it was Facebook or whatever, but like, yeah, they can verify if those messages were actually sent. He could verify that he never sent those messages.
is supposed to be undeniable proof that he did the worst thing possible. Again, everything without consent.
If it goes to court, like, then they will reach out to Facebook or whatever company and say, yeah, okay, let's show us. And if it's text messages, then the provider can share that info.
They add this in. This is to a treatment center, a certain type of treatment center, one that would not have consent, let's just say. And they redact almost everything here. So you can't see the reporting. I redact a little bit. You can see where I blocked that out.
Is he going to claim again that this shows like they've been doctoring this document? Obviously, it has been edited. You can see that it's pushed back on the end. Have they been messing up again with like photo editing? Like,
You can actually tell.
they could have. This was the look that they were going for.
Mine from there.
It would be stupid. It would be stupid because with this type of stuff, one would assume that that is the actual document. But they could also think, you know what? We're blurring it out anyway. But yeah.
That way, but you'll notice exact same day, and they make sure to frame this in such a way that they're calling him an assailant here. They're saying again, worst thing possible. There is no consent whatsoever. They're essentially saying, according to this person, he ends up pushing her up against the wall. He ends up spreading her legs with his legs. Undergarments come off. He ends up, let's just say, having relations, not with consent, by the way. And afterwards, you have, what happened when he was finished? Again, that'll get into
So this is an explanation of rape, basically.
protection commentary.
He's not willing to say the word because he almost has 400,000 subscribers and is making
Then
money.
she reported that the situation for her was even more complicated due to the assailant. Again, he is an assailant according to this celebrity status. Now here's the thing, when you remove all of their edits to it, all the blurs and everything else, that it changes the context exponentially, which they have actually had a relationship before. This was commentary about use of protection, and the person there, they end up getting treatment because, well, that comes up in the conversation. And again, it's not about the way.
If she says you need to put a condom on, and he forces himself upon her and has sex with her without a condom, do you not call that rape because she does not want to have sex in that way?
you would think no means no comes up. Forgive the red line redactions, by the way. Again, those are mine. Welcome to the platform.
Is it the exact same thing? No, it's not. But like, you should respect that line, right? And that is what it's pointing out. And they are probably portraying it as rape. But then that description was blurred
So
out.
you can see how they frame it, of course.
But it did say something about...
You have, yeah, their garments. There's
Let's hear what he says about that description.
an assailant here. You know,
Let's go
that's
back.
supposed to be undeniable proof that he did the worst thing possible. Again, everything with that to say. And they redact almost everything here. So you can't see the reporting. I redact a little bit. You can see.
You redact a little bit. You redacted that word and everything below. But let's hear what that says, that
When I
part.
block that out, you can actually tell mine from theirs. I did it that way. But you'll notice, exact same day. And they make sure to frame this in such a way that they're calling him an assailant here. You know, they're saying, again, worst thing possible. There is no consent whatsoever. They're essentially saying, you know, according to this person, he ends up
Okay?
pushing her up against the wall. He ends up spreading her legs
He ends up spreading her legs
with his legs under
with his legs. So he's using his hands to hold her arms or something, and then using his legs to spread her legs. Okay.
garments come off. He
Her garments come off. Okay.
ends up, let's just say, having relations,
So he ends up having sex with her,
not with consent, by the
not with consent.
way. And afterwards, you have, what happened when he was finished? Again, that'll get
Sounds pretty rapey to me. Is that not an assailant?
Changes commentary about use of protection and the no means presented by them in articles and more. You can see the date there. The date matches up. That is the exact same date of the report. You have Russel Brand. He's saying, I'm sorry. That was crazy and selfish. I hope at face value, even though in another video I've talked about the cuts here, you can actually see the copy paste as well because it has another angle. And this was copied in by itself too. But looking just at the context alone, this is actually what it says. You scared the bleep out
Is this the same video, same thing?
of me. Danger means no. Do I have to go and get myself assailant here? It's optional. You don't have the best reputation. I pride myself on being safe and trying to make the right decisions. Obviously, this was a bad one. I'm so disappointed. So again, this conversation, what is presented here, this is 100% about protection. I mean,
She didn't want to have sex without protection, and he forced sex on her without protection. That's what it sounds like, right?
it's how it changes up the narrative. It's
It's pretty messed up narrative, isn't it, Umbrella
crazy
Guy?
again. This is their evidence. Now he says, I'm sorry there. I'm very sorry. You don't need to get tested.
Imagine if she did get a disease because he was fucking around with a lot of women.
He's going to respond to that by saying, we should do that again sometimes. That doesn't make sense at all either. You
We should wait.
leave
What?
this out here that he's going to respond to that by saying, I did the worst thing ever. That was without your consent. By the way, I'm going to mock and deride you by saying, hey, we should do that again sometimes. That doesn't make sense. You don't need to get tested. I will make this up to you somehow with live and kindness, not my
With love and kindness. Not my original idea, which was more. I don't know what he says. He blocked it out.
original idea, which was more sex. So again,
His original idea was more sex. What? But when he says, I'll make this up to you with love and kindness, what's the problem?
they're trying to tell me, and they leave this out here, that he's going to respond to that by saying, I did the worst thing ever. That was without your consent. By the way, I'm going to mock and deride you by saying, hey, we should do that again sometimes.
Saying you make this up to you, I will make this up to you with somehow with love and a kindness is the same as saying I will fuck you again without a condom. You stupid bitch. I don't care. I do what I want. That's the same.
Doesn't make sense at all.
Oh my God.
You've been lovely to me. It continued. The documentary from Channel 4 presents this because they decide, instead of just presenting you with context and telling you, hey, this is what's here, they do it like this. So they bring this up. They bring it up for a
Okay, so they're framing only, they're not showing the rest.
fraction of a second, by the way. After they do that, they decide again, fraction of a second. They blur out everything so your eyes never lock on it. Then they
So they're only showing this part. If you only show this part, you do not include the other part, then you should not be surprised that people think it's rape
direct you to this.
because it doesn't mention anything about a condom.
You tell me, if you were to read this on its own, you were to see that redacted item. You weren't really paying that
True?
much attention. You're listening to what they say. What would you think the context of all of this is? Do you know how scary you are when that glazed look comes over you when a girl says no?
Yeah. Yeah. That is messed up. If this is the only
make
thing they
sure-
showed, yeah. They blurred out everything else. That's messed
That
up.
context. And by the way, the person these accusations are coming
But it's still messed up.
from, there's a
It's still messed up.
tale that is told. It doesn't come from their voice. It sounds like AI. They say, though, it's a voice actors there. And remember, Channel 4 just told us they didn't know about all this stuff. Hey, we aired it, but we didn't do an
They have investigative journalists working for them. It's a special, they're constantly doing stories, right?
investigation. We didn't contact anyone attached.
He makes it seem like the entire channel is like into the investigation because they collectively worked on it. Like, no. It's a group of investigative journalists that were diving into this, and like, yeah, Channel 4 was his employer. Okay, so that was a bit better. Does not disprove the allegations, but it shows like the narrative is like it was rape. Well, while that one was probably more about a condom, but forcing yourself upon her and having sex with her without a condom when she says no, you need to use a condom is messed up.
That put out those Russell.
Is messed up, and some could say it is rape. I don't know if that falls under the definition, but like if someone really doesn't want to get any diseases or whatever, like you should respect that, and it happens a lot, unfortunately.
Brand allegation.
Because guys say like I don't like it or whatever, like yeah, it happens a lot.
And so they have messed up big time. See,
okay, they messed up big time. So the last one I thought was like, yeah, it was correct. I understand the critique. If you're just highlighting that one, I have not seen that because he's in the UK. I've not seen the episodes. But if that is literally the only thing they're highlighting and they're not mentioning the condom at all, like, yeah, it sounds like they want to make it look like it's not about a condom, but actual rape.
Russel Brand has indeed been canceled, as everyone begins dropping Russel Brand over accusations, despite the fact that there has been no relation into perspective. We are talking about the bulge only moving away from the man, but they're joining in the torches and the pitchfork. So to truly gauge this cancellation, you have to remember that it's only been a few short days. Everyone connected.
Yeah, he's mentioning that they all pulled. Yeah, that is true.
They're really important. The
this is from the video.
On which Russell.
So let's see. He's showing his YouTube stats. So he's now demonetized. But he was making... These numbers are like, it's between $380 and $6.1 thousand. But he does get like more than 1 million views a day, which is a lot. So he makes quite considerable amount of money, right? But then the monetization is gone. He has been pushing for Rumble stuff, and people can like become a member and blah, blah, blah. So he has other revenue as well. And I mean, if the allegations are false, he can sue them, right? He can do that. And then when he's proven innocent, because he says, I have other testimonies from other people that completely contradict what they're claiming.
This is spearheaded by the same mainstream media that has gotten it wrong many decades-old allegations. Some with the quote-unquote proof, it either is doctored or it is out and out fake. Plus the presentation of it, it doesn't go. Now, why do they start to fall? And some of these are very disappointing in my opinion. For example, Russel Brand, his publisher, they move away. What kind of book was he publishing? Nope, it wasn't an autobiography like before. It wasn't something on politics either. It was on recovery. He's actually put out one in the past.
So they're not selling his book on recovery. Yeah.
He was going to put out one presently, something that could actually do good for people. Instead of that, you have the publisher. They not only pause this thing, they pause it indefinitely, by the way, but they give us
pause.
Statement
Okay.
too. Pretty much.
So, okay, let me talk about let's see if he has any other evidence. All right, I think that's it. So, yeah, I understand, like, YouTube and these publishing, like all these companies that are disassociating themselves from Russel Brand because of what the allegations, and they find the allegations credible enough to think, hey, there's something there, right? Like, they are allowed to say, we don't want to work with him anymore. YouTube is allowed to make these type of decisions, but it is also true that it is these are allegations at the moment. And like, it goes a bit far for YouTube to completely demonetize him. Imagine if that was his only source of income. I mean, the guy is already quite wealthy, right? But still, like, if that is his job, his basic job is like, he's an online person that creates content. And taking that away from him, while it has not been proven that it is true, but it sounds credible, that goes a bit far. It sounds a bit like YouTube was waiting for an excuse to do it. But like, this should not have been the excuse. I don't think this is okay. YouTube has a special role. Like, he's a content producer there. And then with the book, yeah, they don't want to have that association, they're allowed, you know. And he can still probably self-publish the book. He can, if they're not willing to publish it, like he can probably self-publish it. And there's a good chance that he will even sell more because he does have a lot of people supporting him, right? And so, but are the allegations true or not? We do not know. We don't know, right? We don't know what is true, what is not true. We haven't, most people outside, I mean, the people outside of the UK have not seen the actual videos. In the video, Channel 4 only highlights those two sentences and does not include the part where it shows that it's actually about a condom, use of condom. But I do feel like that umbrella guy is kind of like downplaying how bad that is. It is bad. And I guess his point is like, but it's not rape. And I think opinions differ on this because under those circumstances, when someone says, I don't want to have sex without any protection, and if you force sex, regardless if you force sex, but like under those conditions, they would say no to sex, right? So, yeah, that's messed up. That's messed up, and it's criminal as well, right? So let's not downplay that. Thanks for watching. We will probably cover this again in the future when more information is coming out. But don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And let me know if you have any suggestions for topics I could cover, but also what is your opinion about this whole Russel Brand allegations thing and the fact that media is already canceling him, but also, do you think this was faked? Are you living in the UK? Have you watched the Channel 4, I forgot what it's called, but have you watched those segments on Channel 4? Do you also think it sounds very credible? It's sad to hear this stuff. Yeah. All right, we'll see how this goes. But for now, thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe and hopefully I'll see you next time.